I talk about Bitcoin and digital stuff on the show a little bit, but I'm not as knowledgeable about it. So when I hear about how Ripple is funding Greenpeace to put to the environment stuff is unreal. Because I got a response to one of my tweets today about like, oh, it's bad for the environment. I was just down in El Salvador in June. I haven't been in a country in recent years that had hope. That country has hope.
Yeah.
And there is, green Bitcoin mining projects happening down there. The volcano one, which is $1 billion project. I mean, I saw, you know, adoption, depending on where you're at, is anywhere from 30 to 50, 60%. Certain parts are more than others. Bitcoin Beach, El Tunco was probably 80, 90%. I rented a surfboard there. And I saw it. I saw in this little country, the size of Massachusetts with 6.5 million people, which is like maybe all of LA County, I saw it working. I saw it pulling people out of poverty. I saw it changing lives. I saw it on top of, I mean, it's a separate thing, but like Bukele locking up all of the criminals, that obviously helped too. But I saw like we could have this all over the world. We could have this all over the world.
Yeah.
And that's why what you're talking about, the race to prevent the war or stop the war, is so critical, because the opposite is more of this indentured servitude, more of this. I mean, LA, the cost of living is through the roof, man.
Yeah, the El Salvador thing is really interesting. I think Bitcoin is a symbol of freedom and change and improvement there. It's not actually causal, but I think it's correlated.
Yeah.
So, it's somebody that came in and shook things up and is doing things differently and doing things, to improve things. And Bitcoin is one of those things that he's doing to improve things.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. But it is again, it's very early in the path of Bitcoin to even becoming a mature store of value, because most places it doesn't make a lot of sense to spend Bitcoin, and because most of our expectation is that the purchasing power of Bitcoin is going to increase significantly.
Yeah.
So it's an awesome experiment on the medium of exchange side in El Salvador, but I think what they're doing with the mining and what they're doing with adding it to their treasury, those are things that actually make perfect sense today. And then obviously there's like some remittance stuff that could help, but there's still, that was already a pretty well-trodden remittance corridor with low fees because it's dollars to dollars. There's like 60 companies that do it. So it was already like low on the list of egregious fees. So that, again, like, I think we're better served in the Bitcoin space when we promote narratives that are definitely true and not grasp and reach for things where they can say, oh, you lied about this. What else are you lying about?
Right.
So it's much better to just stand like firmly on 2 feet and support the narratives that are definitely true.
That's a good point. Because I think part of it in seeing El Salvador, and since the main thing you're talking about is America and how important it is to get America to adopt this, it almost seems like it's an easier sell in third world countries where they don't have access to traditional banking, but everybody has a smartphone.
100%.
So it's like in a first world country, it's like, well, why do I even?
Yep.
We don't have the same hurdles.
Yes.
So how do we get over that in the first world countries?
Yeah. So I should also say, like, it's these things going on in, El Salvador or in, a lot of countries around the world, stuff going on in Vietnam.
Yeah.
Great Bitcoiners doing stuff in Costa Rica,
The
Portugal, Philippines.
Yes.
So all of these things, again, because Bitcoin is decentralized, so if there is a big mining facility in like New Zealand or Paraguay, that makes it harder to attack Bitcoin. So that's making Bitcoin run faster. If there's somebody in like Montenegro working on privacy technology for Bitcoin or some kind of scaling layer like ARC, right? Barak is over in Turkey, and he's working on ARC, which should scale Bitcoin transactions to the moon or something like that. That again makes it much harder to get in the way of Bitcoin, makes it look more unassailable, makes it look more like a losing battle. Nobody likes to lose, right? You'd rather be on the side of the winning team, especially if you rationally understand that it's actually better for humanity. And I think what will happen is I do think that we will win. I'm trying really hard to make sure that we do. And I think that within, 15 to 20 years, it will be the rational thing for the State Department, the bankers, the legislators, whatever. There'll be millennials and Gen Z in Congress, right? I think it'll make sense for them to say, hey, cool, let's treat Bitcoin as a second currency. The rest of the world has been doing this shit forever. They have prices in Swiss francs and euros and dollars in the airport. And Turkey, you can buy stuff in euros and lira and dollars. Like, it's not that big a deal to have two price tags. Let's coexist for a few decades. And then eventually I think they'll just get rid of the dollar. But it should take probably the rest of the century.
It could, and that's that